Good evening and welcome into Sports Talk on a Budget. It is Friday evening, January 17th, year of our Lord 2024. This is going to be my national championship preview and prediction show. But before I go ahead and get into that preview and prediction, just want to remind you, as always, if you like the video version, please like and subscribe right down here on YouTube under Sports Talk on a Budget. Smash that like, smash that subscribe if you like the show here. If you prefer the audio version, got a pretty decent audience over on my audio only version. It's available on places like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, or pretty much wherever you get your podcasts. Please like and subscribe to the show on there as well. But like I said before, this is going to be my national championship preview and prediction. Going to break down the game on Monday night, Notre Dame, Ohio State. This is going to be the first national champion of the 12-team college football playoff. Let's go ahead and look at the matchup. So it's going to be Notre Dame versus Ohio State, as anybody who's not living under a rock knows. Ohio State is an 8.5-point favorite in this game. Ohio State has been the juggernaut throughout the playoffs. They've been by far the best team in the playoffs so far, and now they sit there in the national championship game versus Notre Dame to get their first title since 2014, and this would be the first national title for Notre Dame since 1988. So that'd be the first title in my lifetime. Notre Dame, of course, is still one of the bigger brands in all of college football, even though it's almost been 40 years since their last national championship. But huge matchup here, huge brands. This is going to be, I think, a good game. But let's go ahead and break down the game. And what I wanted to do is I'm going to give you three keys for both teams to win the game. We're going to start off with Notre Dame. First key for Notre Dame for me is to stay on schedule, and that's on offense. Stay on schedule, stay ahead of the chains. What I mean by that is you can't be caught in second and long, and for sure not third and long, and that's third and 5 or 6 or longer. If you're in third and 7 and third and 8 and third and 10 all night versus Ohio State team, you're going to lose this game. That gives Ohio State a chance to tee off on you with their pass rushers in JT Tuimoloau and Jack Sawyer, and the back end of their defense is really good with Caleb Downs, Denzel Burke. They have really good defensive players on the back end as well. And what Notre Dame is not great at, this is not what they do. They're not a pass first team, and they're not a team that's going to get big chunk plays or explosive plays in the pass game. I know they got a few against Penn State. This is a different animal in Ohio State. This is just a different animal in Ohio State. Ohio State has the better secondary than Penn State. Penn State, you can argue, maybe had the better front seven. Ohio State definitely has the better secondary here. So if Notre Dame, like I said, is in third and long, even second and long, and obvious pass situations throughout the night, it's going to be a long night for Notre Dame, and I don't like their chances if that's going to be how this game plays out. So first key for me, stay on schedule, stay ahead of the change, stay ahead of the chains, and do what you do on offense that got you to the national championship game. Second key for me is going to be use that same Texas blueprint that they put out in the semifinal game last week to shut down or slow down Jeremiah Smith. If you watch that Texas-Ohio State game, Jeremiah Smith had one catch, I think, for like 4 yards in the entire game, and he had gone off in the previous games versus Oregon and Tennessee in the earlier rounds. What Texas did was not only did they double team him, they triple teamed him sometimes. They had a safety cheat over. They had bracketed coverages around him as well. They suffocated Jeremiah Smith on the outside and said, Ohio State, you're going to have to find somebody else. Jeremiah Smith isn't going to beat us tonight. You're going to have to find another avenue on the offensive side to beat us. Ohio State, of course, was able to do that. That's why they're in this game. But it was more difficult because this Ohio State offense really kind of, when they're at their best, is when Jeremiah Smith is at his best. When he's dominating games, he's having big catches, he's getting big yards after the catch. If that's the case on Monday night, Ohio State will win, and they'll win easily as well. So can Notre Dame use that Texas blueprint? Notre Dame plays a lot of man defense. That's kind of been their calling card on defense, is like, hey, we're going to play man defense. We're going to man up your guys. We don't care who you got. That's worked for them in most games. They haven't played the caliber of wide receiver that Ohio State has since probably their season finale against USC, and USC had over 300 yards of receiving and passing from Jaden Mayava and those receivers. That's the closest they've seen all year to a receiving core, the caliber of Ohio State. Now, Ohio State is a better receiving core, but USC had some good receivers as well, and they were able to get a lot of receiving yards and passing yards in that game against Notre Dame. Notre Dame was stubborn and played man, but they were also playing ahead with the lead most of the game and knew that they would be able to score most of the time on that USC defense. Ohio State's defense is a totally different animal. So I think Notre Dame can't be stubborn in this game. Don't exactly go down with the ship and play man the whole time, because you can't guard Smith, Abuka, Carnell Tate, or even G. Scott, the tight end, man-to-man all night long without them burning you for a couple big plays. So that's my number 2 key, is use that Texas blueprint to shut down or slow down Jeremiah Smith. Third key for me for Notre Dame is win the turnover battle. And they've been doing a great job of this all year now. I know they lost the turnover battle against Penn State last week, but they got the most important turnover, which set them up in prime field position to get into a field goal range position to win that game. So they didn't win the turnover battle against Penn State, but they got the most important turnover of the game. Can they win the turnover battle against this Ohio State team? Ohio State has been good at taking care of the football ever since that Michigan game and in the college football playoff. Can you get Will Howard to throw a couple interceptions? Can you get a fumble? Can you get this Ohio State team out of rhythm a little bit? Notre Dame cannot afford to lose the turnover battle in this game like they did against Penn State. Like I said, totally different animal. If Ohio State has 0 turnovers and Notre Dame's got 1 or 2, Notre Dame's not going to win this game. It's just not going to happen. So that is my third key for Notre Dame. Win the turnover battle and give yourself an edge there like you've done most of the season outside of the semifinal against Penn State. Now we're going to go over the 3 keys for Ohio State. My first key for Ohio State is to slow down that Notre Dame run game. Now, if you've watched my show and my breakdowns of college football games, especially the college football playoff, every game that I've talked about breaking down whoever's playing Notre Dame, one of my keys for them was to slow down the Notre Dame run game and make Riley Leonard and this offense beat you through the air. That has been my key against Notre Dame basically the entire season. And most teams, I would actually say no teams have been able to do that on a consistent basis. If Ohio State can do that on a consistent basis, they should be able to win this game, and they should be able to win this game going away. So that is a huge key for me there. Can Ohio State slow down this Notre Dame run game, make Riley Leonard play from within the pocket? He's not accustomed to doing that, and that is not his strength. That'll get their offense out of their game, and that is a huge momentum shift and a huge advantage for Ohio State at that point. Number 2 key for me for Ohio State is establish a rhythm for Will Howard. They've been able to do that in all three round games in this college football playoff. They've been able to establish a rhythm for Will Howard. He got into a great rhythm against Tennessee and Oregon. Wasn't a rhythm even in that first half against Tennessee. Now they kind of shot themselves in the foot with just stupid penalties and stupid mistakes. But if you get Will Howard in a rhythm, he's getting the ball out on time. He's getting the ball out on target. He gets into that rhythm. This Ohio State team, when they start rolling downhill, they're really impossible for any team in the country to beat them. So establish a rhythm for Will Howard, and you're going to get yourself into a good position to win this game. And then the third and final key for me for Ohio State is to win the middle 8. Now, what's the middle 8? The middle 8 is the last 4 minutes of the first half and the first 4 minutes of the second half. And Notre Dame has been a master at winning that middle 8 the entire season. We saw it against Georgia where they got the field goal, then they got the fumble and a touchdown. And then in the second half, they came out and ran the kickback. 17 points right there, right off the bat. Pretty much put the game away in that middle 8. And then even against Penn State, they're down 10-0. Penn State was dominating the first half, and this game looked like it was all Penn State. They had all the momentum. Everything was going in the way of Penn State. What happened? Notre Dame was able to drive down the field with their backup quarterback, get a field goal, and then they come out of the half in the second half, get the ball, go down the field, score a touchdown, tie ball game, brand new ball game. The momentum had all shifted over to Notre Dame that was on Penn State side for the entire first half until the last 2 minutes of the first half. So like I said, Notre Dame has been a master at winning that middle 8. Can Ohio State win that middle 8? They're good at that. They won that against Oregon. They won the whole game. Tennessee, they won the whole game. But they won that middle 8 against Texas. Texas took that they got that touchdown to tie up the game late in the first half. what happened on the first play from scrimmage for Ohio State in that first half, or after Texas scored in that first half. Boom, 79-yard touchdown on a screen play to Trevion Henderson. And that really took the momentum back from Texas. But I really think when you look back at that game, that's kind of what snapped Texas a little bit. That kind of broke their back a little bit. Now they came back in the second half, and it was a game in the second half, but they had all the momentum. They were going to go into halftime and have all the momentum and get the ball to start the second half with the tie game. And they go into halftime down 7. Was just a huge momentum swing there. Both these teams have been really good at winning that middle 8, but Notre Dame has been the better team, especially in this playoffs. Who's going to win the middle 8? If Ohio State can win that middle 8, the last 4, the first 4 of the second half, it's going to be huge for them, and that'll go a long way for them to win this game. So those are my 3 keys there. Wanted to break that down a little bit. This is one game, so it's not going to be a lengthy breakdown. I'm not one of those guys that's going to break this game down for an hour from every conceivable angle that you can think of. Just don't have that kind of time, and just don't have that kind of attention span, to be honest with you. But looking at this game, outside of the keys that I just mentioned, this Ohio State team is a buzzsaw. This Ohio State team is on a mission, in my opinion. This would be whoever wins this national championship, whether it's Ryan Day or Marcus Freeman, this would be their first national championship. I think Ryan Day is, of course, under more pressure because of that Michigan game. He didn't win the Big Ten championship. He didn't beat Michigan for a 4th straight year. But if he wins a national championship, I really do have a feeling that his fans following his team are not going to care about the other 2 things. They'll be like, okay, our goals going into the season, number 1, win a national championship. Number 2, win the Big Ten title. Number 3, beat Michigan. We got the most important one in the national championship. It's our first national championship in a decade. That's going to be huge for Ryan Day. But to look at if Marcus Freeman is able to beat Georgia, beat Penn State, and beat Ohio State en route to a national championship after losing to Northern Illinois in the second game, and after being told forever that Notre Dame just doesn't have this game isn't built for Notre Dame to win a national championship. That's why Brian Kelly had to leave 3 years ago and go to LSU. He actually said that multiple times at Notre Dame, and then when he got to LSU, that this game Notre Dame can win, but they can't win national championships because they can never get athletes and they can never compete on the field with the likes of the SEC, with the likes of Ohio State, Michigan, teams like that as well, with the upper end of college football. If Marcus Freeman can win a national championship in the first 3 years as a head coach of Notre Dame, massive. Like I said, 88 was the last time they won a national championship. Marcus Freeman can bring that back for Notre Dame. That would be huge. That would be massive for him and this program and kind of the momentum that they've built under Marcus Freeman. They're recruiting better, both in the transfer portal and especially in the high school, than they ever were under Brian Kelly. They're getting athletes that can compete at the top end of college football against the likes of the SEC and the Big Ten. So this Notre Dame team is here to stay, and they're ahead of schedule, in my opinion, under Marcus Freeman. If they're able to get a national championship, and like I said, en route beat Georgia and Ohio State, 2 behemoths in the sport, that would be massive for Notre Dame. I just don't see it happening. So my final prediction, I'm going to go ahead and roll with Ohio State to win. I'm going to roll with Ohio State to cover. Ohio State wins and covers. That 8.5, Ohio State minus 8.5 is the play for me there. It's been a great year. I know there was a lot of blowouts in college football in the college football playoff, but if you watched the NFL's first round of their playoff, every game was a blowout except for one. So it's just going to happen. I think the college football playoff was a massive success. Is there tweaks and things that need to be changed going forward? Yes, there is. But I still think it was a massive success. And I think Ohio State is going to be your first 12-team college football playoff national champion when they win and cover against Notre Dame on Monday night. Ohio State minus 8.5, like I said, is the play there. So thank you for watching this show. This has been my national championship breakdown, preview, and predictions. Once again, if you like this show, please smash that like, smash that subscribe right down here on YouTube. Leave a comment with your picks or your kind of keys for the game as well. If you prefer the audio version, please go like and subscribe to the show on places like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music. Thank you again for always watching and listening, and have a great day.